straight in. So can you hear me all right? Jack Dawson, how you doing, baby? Good to see you. I'm assuming you can hear me. Yes, let's go. So today I thought we were going to talk about foundation scaling and ecosystem, and how these fit together, and how we collectively can move towards getting adoption for Zen, while also understanding that we share the same values, but also have different incentives in time. So things are moving very fast with Zen, as they should, as they need to. And in only 3 months since launch, we've had over 240 million transactions on chain, only for claiming C ranks. So the data points here tell a story, and there's a demand for what we are doing, basically. So we are building a lot of stuff parallel to that expansion as well, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. You heard probably a lot of talk about new tokens here and there, and it's probably a lot of confusion about that because there's so much going on. So I thought I'd give some comprehension to how all of this fits together in a comprehensible way. So I tried this new technology here today, this whiteboard, to illustrate it. My connection is not 100%. Sometimes it goes down, and if that happens, then I'm just going to reconnect again. So just do some push-ups or something. So let's get right in, guys. Let's talk about Zen, and let's start with the foundation. So what we have in the foundation is, of course, Zen protocol, and which you are very well aware of right now. So Zen protocol is founded by this guy, Mr. Jack Levin. Mr. Jack Levin, and Jack Levin. So I'm gonna go through the very basics of what we're trying to do right now, and where we're coming from to understand where we are, and then to figure out where we're going next. So I'm going to start with the basics. So it's founded by Jack Levin, and who is he? He was one of the first network engineers at Google. He was the first to build their server infrastructure. Fathers will say that he was a janitor only, but we know he did a lot of other stuff too. He's also founder of ImageShack.com, which is a cloud storage service. It's still ranked within top 200 sites in the whole world today. Also founder of Identify, which is a cloud scaling cloud-based solution for infrastructure. So Jack is amazing because he really understands scaling, and he understands crypto, and understands technology, and he shares the value of open source. So he's also a great educator, which is why we appreciate him. And here's another, I like to call him Zenze. Here's another picture of him when he was in Google. So Jack, we're going to put you here for now, but we don't forget about you. So let's focus on Zen. What is Zen? So Zen is something you can see as a horizontally. Oh wait, let me just change the picture so you can see here. Sorry guys. There we go. That's much better. So Zen is a horizontally scaling protocol that's scaling. Nice, look at this. That's scaling far and wide, and it's a very efficient way for the system, for the protocol to get users on board, because they can participate in a new financial system based on first principles with as low barriers as possible to enter. So the way it works is that users mint their own tokens using the mint formula. So if you want to understand Zen, you basically need to understand this one formula, which is your reward. And when we say your reward, we have to realize that Zen is a two-step process, right? So you start by claiming your so-called C rank, and then you finish off that process by here. Let's see, none. There. And then you finish off this process by claiming your mint. So this is a process that we call proof of participation. Okay. So how do I do it? Like that. Right. Proof of participation. And the formula works in the way that your reward at point number 2 in time is calculated such as the log2 base of the global rank minus the G rank. So let's stop right there. What does this mean? So first we have to understand what logarithmic is and log base too. So here you can see a chart of a logarithmic chart with base 2, how it looks like. So it's disinflationary by nature. So you get an idea of how it looks like. So the formula dictates that your reward here is the log with 2 base, the global rank minus your rank. So CRU, your crypto rank, is what you get here when you connect to the protocol the first time. The global rank is the number of interactions with the protocols before you, the number of people that have claimed their C rank at this point. So part, and this is where the virality of the tokenomics comes in, because your reward will be higher the more people that connect with the protocol. And then we multiply this by time. So this is where the higher the time is, the higher your reward is going to be, because you multiply it, right? So this makes the whole network become disinflated. Like this makes the whole network become you delay your gratification. So the longer you wait, the more you will get. So the incentives for the whole network is to delay their gratification, and then you multiply with an amplifier. So with an amplifier. So the amplifier is a time-based number that starts with 3,000 and then declines by 1 every day. So in 8 years, it's going to be down to 1. And then we have a early adopter amplification factor. So it's 1 plus EAA. So that's just an extra incentive for people to opt in early on, basically. So right. So the adoption of XEN scales viral because of the built-in virality in this tokenomics. So your rewards increases with adoption, and XEN is basically a token distribution system. So what's happening is that you have, let's see here, guys. There we go. There we go. So you can see it as a horizontally token distribution system. So users take part in the value creation and creates a community of like-minded people who then share the same values, and the network spreads through word of mouth. So the values are the tenets of blockchain, and the tenets of blockchain is what we're going to talk about now. So what are the tenets of blockchain? The tenets, as we like to call it, is immutability. And what does that mean? That means that once deployed, you cannot change the code. The code is only 400 lines of code. There's no admin keys, and the code is also audited. So no admin keys. And the code is also audited. And most importantly, which I would say is that it's self-custodial. So you have control over your own tokens. You're in possession of your own value. And so remember, everyone can start mining your own tokens from the protocol. And this is a very much fundamental difference from how everything else works today, because it's in the base foundation. So when you start by allowing the user to have self-custody right away, then this is the default mode. You now have to convince them to give up custody. And now we can counteract the old user behavior where users changed value from being with one custodian to another. Now we can let everyone mint for themselves from the very start, straight from the protocol. There's also, related to this, there was no pre-mine being made. So the team or the founder didn't mine any tokens at all. The supply and price started at 0, and we started mining them as a community right away. So usually you pre-mine, and then you have misaligned incentives between the team and founder and the community, where you're trying to figure out how you can sell your tokens to the community. This didn't happen here. We didn't pre-mine anything. So the incentives are more aligned with the community. And we basically just made the tech available and started minting ourselves together with the community, which anyone can do because the protocol is also permissionless. Which means that anyone, anywhere, anytime can interact with the protocol, which it should be. So if the team's UI goes down, then someone else will just start coming up with a complementary UI that you come in from, and some already have. So that's a very important factor to point out. And this all makes the whole network of them being ridiculously decentralized. So supply and price, as we said, starts at 0. So since users can mint their own tokens just by interacting straight with the protocol without any counterparty, no counterparty. I'm a bit OCD with the structure, as you can see. So in between, and there's no pre-mine, users don't buy the token, right? The token is free. The token doesn't cost anything. You connect yourself to the protocol and mint your own tokens. So because it is free, you the barriers to enter the system are as low as they can be into blockchain. And what we need to do if we want to solve the adoption problem is remove all the barriers as possible for people to enter blockchain. So it also reduces the risk to participate, since you don't have to give up value for anything in order to participate. So we're introducing this proof of participation method, so users can connect and start minting start the minting process right away. And what we have here is a window of education where we can educate the user of how to best take care of the value at this point. So it's what we can call a little flashy like that: free education, digital ownership amplified. Right. So, which is very important. So we have this window of education, so it fits very well. So you choose the amount of time that you are willing to wait, and you're incentivized to choose a long min-term because it will reward you more. And this also incentivizes long-term thinking for everyone, for the whole ecosystem, because everything else in crypto is when moon. And this is not something strange per se, because everyone is incentivized to make as much money as fast as possible, of course, but collectively it leads to a collective incentive mechanism with a lot of short-term decisions that are not optimal for building a system with, so or have in an economy. So the behavior in the whole economy changes by rewarding longevity, and this with time brings stability for the whole network. So that's another quality, so to speak, another feature that this system have with delayed gratification. Delayed. Oh. And so the another important thing to mention is that everything we do here is 100% transparent. So all transactions is on chain and it's available to everybody, and the transactions are, the whole code is also open source. There we go. And ultimately, what we want to achieve with this is a system where we can live in Valhalla and transact with each other peer to peer. So the default mode should be that you should be able to transact with each other peer to peer. So these are the mechanics of what we like to call first principles of crypto. And in the light paper, we define it such as decentralization, counterparty risk resistance, self-custody, transparency, and peer-to-peer value exchange. But as you can see, these other keywords are also very relevant for what we're doing. So what's happening with XEN right now is that these values are spreading like wildfire. One chain. Did I misspell this? Delayed. Delayed. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's spelled like that. English is not my my first language. So I think if you didn't notice. So what's happening here is that these values are spreading like wildfire horizontally, one chain after the other. So we penetrate the blockchains with first principles instead, and we make these values available for everybody to participate in. And we don't really have to sell this concept to anyone. We just have to educate people to make it available, since the barriers are so low. So they will be much more likely to try it out, since the financial risk is so low only to participate. So you don't have to buy anything. You can just mint it and pay 2 transaction fees to enter blockchain. So that is part of the mission of the project. So the mission of the project is to solve adoption. So this virality is needed in order to solve the problem we are ultimately trying to solve, adoption, because 95% of the human populations are not interacting with blockchain today. And we have to ask ourselves, why is it so? And the most people that are in crypto today are not practicing self-custody with their tokens. So every second that you spend on not trying to solve these problems, you are not contributing basically to making this technology live out its fullest potential. So we need to therefore measure our success in population rather than in terms of fiat. So if you look at these values, like this is what Zen is. This is it's not, if you look at it like this, there's not really that much that's that you cannot like with this. I mean, what would you have a problem with? The fact that the code is immutable, the fact that the users have self-custody, the fact that it's permissionless, so anyone anywhere can opt into the system, the fact that it's decentralized and getting more decentralized constantly, the fact that there's no counterparty, the fact that it creates a network where you are rewarded for your delayed gratification, etc., etc. So looking at these values, like this is Zen, and based on this, Zen lives up to all of these factors, and you can compare these factors to any other token or any other project or any other system and analyze them based on these different factors and compare. So so all of this is great, and we could just stop there and we're done. It's live. Zen is live, so it's gonna survive whether we are there or not at this point. It lives on the blockchain already, and it's growing. So, but what we have to do is accelerate this adoption. So we don't have time to make another Litecoin and just deploy it and see what happens. So what we do is no, stickers. So instead of waiting for the world to adopt Zen and everything is great about it, what we do is we start adopting it vertically as well. Yeah, nice. And so we do this by building applications that gives utility for Zen and fosters the adoption of Zen. So first, what we did is we built Zen Torrent. And so what is Zen Torrent? Zen Torrent is also another protocol that lives up to these first principles. But it's a protocol that functions as a batch minter of Zen. All right, so you could you can claim one by one, but with this protocol, you can batch mint, so you can make multiple claims in one go. So by doing this, it sort of equalizes, it sort of like destroys the argument of proof of bot, that anyone can just mint as many as possible. Now everyone can do it. So you can claim up to 128 C ranks at once. So it makes the whole process basically much easier, faster, and more secure as well. So XEN Torrent brings a lot of utility for this minting process. So what it's also doing is making the future claims. So you claim your rank here, and then you claim your mint here at a point in the future. So what happens here is that you have a lot of like economic energy that we, with the XEN Torrent protocol, can lock up, because we're making it tradable. We're making this economic energy here tradable, and we're doing this by creating an NFT, a non-fungible token. So we are converting in this process, in this batch minting process, we're also creating a new token, a non-fungible token. And if you've seen my videos, you know the difference between fungible and non-fungible tokens. So non-fungible tokens are not divisible, they're unique, and they're not interchangeable. So we create, here we see, we create this NFT, right? And here you can see the NFT. As you know by now, it has the number of EMU. So this NFT, it had 128 C ranks at once, and the AMP is 2,917. So it's basically 83 days from Genesis, because this reduces one per day, etc., etc. So we encapsulate that economic energy into a NFT. And what we're also doing with this is that we're introducing a new concept of rarity. Right, so rarity. So we go from something that has a supply of 0 and like has a massive, Zen is at its most inflationary phase, and the supply is just going everywhere. So we go from extreme abundance to extreme rarity. And we're doing this by limiting the amount of NFTs that can be issued. So we create different classes. So you can batch mint normal ones and just use this function. But if you want, you can also choose this function to make it more rare, so to speak. You can add that function into your batch minting process. So we create a category, Apex, and it has only 10,000 of these NFTs. And they are also divided into different classes. So the Unicorn, which you see here, which is the most rare one, there's only ever going to be like 100 of these. So what we are doing in that process is that we are making the technology available for those who wants to store their value into something very scarce. So you convert economic energy to something like that's extremely rare and that's verifiably very rare. Like it's like a diamond. So people will mint them, and the only way to get them after they've been minted is to buy them on a secondary market like OpenSea or any other NFT marketplace. So to mint these super rare ones, you also have to burn your Zen. So there's an exchange there, and so the value you have of Zen is burned. So that is then being converted into another token. So let's be clear here. When you burn your Zen, they're forever gone. But you do so because you believe that it has a rarity aspect. And since you believe so and others believe so too, then that creates value. So value comes from the fact that you won't sell lower than what you burn for. And we can see this already now if we go to OpenSea. Like if you see the NFTs that are listed there, you see that they're not listing them for lower than what they paid for. So it's an expected behavior. And like it's the same thing. Like when you mint Zen, you basically burn ETH as well. So it's the same process. It's just how you convert economic energy from one thing to another. So it's a good exchange, and it's something that makes the underlying value of Zen increase. So from an NFT perspective, like if you think of it from the NFT, what you have here is with Zen Torrent is like a marketing machine for the NFT, because you have this batch minting process that people are going to want to use because they want to mint more efficiently. So they're constantly going to be exposed to the fact that here you have something that is a place where you can store your value, which is more rare. So it's a good exchange. And this is like basically an example of how we can have something that's expanding horizontally, but then creating a vertical application on top of that. So what we're talking about here is like yin and yang. We're introducing this concept of yin and yang because we have something that's burning and something that's minting. So let's talk about that a little bit. So you have a mint function and you have a burn function. So what is yin and yang? Yin and yang is the concept of interconnected but opposite forces. So you have two forces. You have creation of something and you have destruction of something. So you have the mint and burn. And what we have with Zen is an ecosystem that is highly decentralized, that is taking care of the equilibrium of these two forces. So if you, like, the market decides what the equilibrium of these two can be. And this is one, like, on the benefits. If we have a very decentralized network, provably very decentralized network, that's only going to get more decentralized by time, that is very interesting. Why is it so? Why is it interesting? Because if you draw a parallel to like central banks, only 35% of the world's central banks are part of the BIS, the Bank of International Settlements. So they basically dictate the rates or the how the central banks what monetary policy they should have. So if you take Fed, for example, they do quantitative easing and tightening. So they expand and they contract their supply, and it's all being decided by one central authority. And then you have a whole market and a whole world that is acting in anticipation of this. If you compare that then with Zen, then you have an economy, a market many things, like what happened with FTX was basically like you have a platform where you derive or where you like do a fair amount of marketing, and then you attract a lot of like retail money. Doesn't have to be retail, but you attract a lot of money, and then you have another business which is some sort of hedge fund which just can't resist the temptation of reaching into those customers' money and investing and being highly speculative, because you want to offer a high yield for obvious reasons. So it's like what happened to FTX. It's not something new, but it's the same thing. But we could like avoid all of this, like super simple, if we had a solution where the users have custody of their own token and where it's like 100% transparent. So what we need to do is like basically build with first principles, and in order to make amazing protocols, we also have to understand that we also have to get very creative. So I want to talk about this Lego analogy again. Maybe some of you have heard I talked about it before, but I love to play with Lego. I have Lego everywhere I go. It's good for creativity. So what we need to do is also be very creative. We need to understand the power of numbers when we create things. So if you have a Lego block 2x4 and you combine it with another Lego block, you can make 24 different combinations. If you combine that with another one, you can make 1,500 different unique combinations. Okay. So if you combine, if you add another one, you can then make 120,000 different unique combinations. And if you add one more, you can make 10 million different unique combinations. And if you add a sixth, you can make 917 million different unique combinations. So like when we are like there's when we're talking about like creating all of these protocols, we have to realize that there's like infinite amount of different possibilities we can do when we so the idea here, sorry, what I was trying to say is that for each new Lego block you add, the number of possible unique combinations increases exponentially. Okay, so what I wanted to say is that some people will tell you that like this solution, which has these three Lego blocks, it's the best thing that ever will be, and don't even try to look at anything else, because it's you're not going to find anything better. There's just the power of numbers tells us that there's too many combinations that you can try stuff with. But in all of that creation, as we're expanding our creativity, we can also learn from the past and realize that stuff that has worked before, stuff that has worked and stuff hasn't worked, and the common like denominator by all of those combinations are the first principles. Like if you have a protocol that is decentralized, where you have self-custody, where it is permissionless, and it is open source, etc., the claim that we are making basically is that it makes the system much more sustainable. So yeah. So basically what we want is to create a thriving ecosystem. And like Jack also says, if creators, like if you're a builder, why wouldn't you want to build with XEN, basically? Because as a builder, you basically want to make something amazing that then can scale to millions of people. So with Zen, what you get is the predictability of the first principles. The fact that you can see under the hood what goes on. The fact that you don't have to have that uncertainty of adapting your model based on what a few centralized parties potentially will do. Here you are sitting on like a, you can see under the hood exactly everything everything that goes on in the system. So that's number one. Number two, you can reach an audience of potentially hundreds of millions of users. So because it's scaling so fast. So that is like very attractive for builders. So like for builders, it's basically Christmas every day. So I also want to mention something with network effects, and because that's basically what we're doing. If you think of this, it's a bunch of protocols that will interact with each other, that's scaling very fast in both directions, and that's very efficiently, we can see this in the data, it's very efficiently attracting a lot more users. So what we are doing is basically building a very strong network. So here you can see like Zen with all of the different chains that we're on right now. And the value, so this is something that can be explained with Metcalfe's law, the value of a network. So imagine you have two telephones, and what you can do is draw like one line between them. But if you have 5 telephones, the number of connections increases exponentially. And if you have a bunch of telephones, the number of connection increases even more, right? So what Metcalfe's law basically says is that the value of a network is proportional to the number, is proportional to the square of the number of connected nodes in the system. So the more nodes that are connected with each other, the more value the network would have. So by scaling both horizontally and vertically, the network grows exponentially further as well. And the whole network here is built on first principles. So Bitcoin, I would argue, has the you could argue that Bitcoin has first principles, that it's based on first principles. I mean, it has some of them, but it doesn't have the network effect. It doesn't have the programmable money. So in that aspect, it doesn't have the network effect. Ethereum has somewhat of a network effect, but it doesn't have the first principles to perhaps a satisfactory extent. Zen, I would argue, has both. It has the first principles and it has the network effect already, but we haven't seen like the extent of the possibility that the Zen network can reach to. So, like another important thing to realize with Zen is that since we are going on many different chains and we're an inclusive scaling solution that welcomes all and interacts with everything and everyone, it means that it's very hard to censor Zen. I mean, a chain could do it, but it wouldn't stop the persistence. It wouldn't stop the Zen. So even if one chain censors Zen, it would still live on the other chains. So you couldn't. It's very hard to censor this system. Like if you learned anything from the last couple of years, whatever you're building, you need to make sure that it's not going to be censored. So that's another quality that the XEN network has. So where do we want to go with all of this? If we just like take a step back and realize what is the long-term vision of XEN? And for me, it's to create this ridiculously decentralized network where every node is an important human being with their rights stored in the wallet, right? So if you have self-custody of your own tokens, it's much harder for someone to steal it from you. And if they can't steal your money, they can't hurt you. So it's not only about money and economic energy, it's about self-sovereignty. So these solutions bring the world into a position where we can reach this vision. This is the strongest machine. Look at this. It looks like a spaceship, right? You can't stop XEN. That's what I'm trying to say. You can't stop XEN, and it's moving towards a world where every node is an important human being with their rights stored in their wallet, and you can create your own value for yourself with a token that you can mint. The token doesn't cost anything; it's free. What's cost is the transactions to the network. So it's free plus gas plus time. But that's basically like the vision. So be trying out different settings here. Yeah. XEN needs to be simple. People just want to buy and sell in one click. Well, you can. So it's very much possible. I mean, it's basically a peer-to-peer token that's based on first principles. That's it. It's a system that is that just makes a lot more sense. So guys, this is what we are building, and what the price chart is showing, like in the interim, like within 3 months, I couldn't give a flying fractal about it, to be honest. It's like, go dev, do something somewhere else. Like, excuse my French, because XEN is not created to satisfy short-term minters wanting exit liquidity on a free token. I mean, it's just not. It's not what we're focusing on. It's not what we're trying to do. So you can. There are people doing ARB right now. You can mint tokens, and I think right now the GUI was pretty high. Now it's down to 20. So you'd have to like wait for between 50 and 100 days or something like that. So you can do it, but when people do that, they're also freeing up that economic energy and selling it to someone else, that then selling it to someone else. So they are producing that economic energy, and that liquidity is important for the network to get going. So like it's with everything, guys. If you invest in anything, in any token, you have to be like aware what goes on. You have to like understand the mechanics. You can't just invest in a token because it's hyped or whatever. You have to understand that the supply started at 0. It's the most inflationary phase right now. We want them to like just go everywhere, and it's in the mint formula. So you have to be prepared that it can go down 99% like at any time. That's just part of the game. But you know, supply started at zero. You need it to be highly inflationary in the beginning. It needs to be, because you need that inflation for adoption. So it's completely necessary. One protocol here, XEN Torrent, burned almost like 8% of the whole supply within a few days. So the system allows for there to be an equilibrium between mint and burn. Incentives have to be created for them to find equilibrium with time. But to assume that there would be some sort of price stability in the short-term perspective, it's not something that is the price need to go through a price discovery, and it's going to take some time for that to do that. So in the interim, you need to be prepared for what's going to happen. But in that process, there's a lot of value being created in the network. So, like, okay, let's look at some statistics actually. Let's see if I can share this. Yeah, this is great. So this is XEN Turbo. Let's go to their dashboard. It's absolutely amazing. So here you can see, let me make it bigger for you guys. So here you can see the total supply. And this is the total supply of everything that's been minted up to this date. So you have 3.5 trillion. And out of that, you have the liquid supply and the total stake. But what I want to show you, we can talk a little bit more about these metrics. Here you can see like one protocol, like within a week, has burned 7.3% of the whole supply. So this is the yin-yang effect of the supply. And here you can see, this is the best estimate of the max supply. So there is no max supply. Let's just revert back to the like, this is the supply curve. So we are basically here right now, and after 80 years, the amplification effect is down to 1. So that means that here you can mint 50,000 tokens in a day. Here you can mint like 10 tokens in a day. So what we can see here, this is interesting. So here you can see the future claimables, and here's the estimated supply in, what is this? This is, oh, sorry guys, I was in another tab. Here we go. So here you can see, like, in 8 years or something like that, 2030, the estimated supply of XEN would be $540 trillion. So that is, sorry, 545 trillion XEN, not dollars. Then we would suck more than America. So this, like, how do we read this number? I mean, it's so much, so you can't like even, you need to comprehend it. Well, it's the same supply that Shiba Inu has today, 540 trillion. It's almost exactly the same. And they are a $4.5 billion market cap. So it's like we are going to have that amount of tokens out on the market in 80 years, according to this. So what we have to understand here is that like this number is based on the last 30 days of activity. So as we adopt it, it probably is going to go more, but at the same time, it doesn't take in consideration so much all the utility being built together with XEN that's going to burn XEN for it to come true. So it's the best estimate that we have so far. But we went from, like, within 3 months to just have a protocol of 400 lines to now have a financial system with a business intelligence system here made by XEN Turbo. They're absolutely amazing, where we can analyze these numbers. So, like, on that, like, I want to stay on that topic because it's something that like comes up a lot of, and I understand that this is something that, like, if you just stare at the price chart and then you just see that, wow, it's a free token and everybody can just mint it for themselves. Of course, it's constantly going to be something, but to discuss, but it's good. It leads us to talk about it and to learn about how all of this stuff works. If you're worried about inflation, then like, let me ask you this: what would you change then in the mint formula? Like, the amplification effect starts at 3,000 and reduces 1 per day. So let's say that we had reduced it by a factor of 10 or something like that. No, let's say we'd reduce this 8-year period to 1 year. Like, what would be the effect of that? The effect would be that we had a highly scarce token that would be highly valuable in monetary terms, but we would be a little small exclusive club that didn't solve anything. Like, what would be the point of that if we're trying to solve adoption? That's number one. Let's say that we expand it to 4 years, because 4 years feels like it's a little bit better in terms of like, anything in DeFi that's longer than 4 years, people can comprehend it. But it's the same thing. Like, prove your case that would be enough to onboard millions and billions of people into this system. So we could have chosen to make a formula which is highly which would show a much better price chart in the short term. But what is the point of that? Like, the point is not to make like an exclusive little club like super rich. The point is to solve adoption. The point is to scale horizontally and get people on board into blockchain. Because if they do so, the whole value is also going to be very, the whole network is going to be very valuable. So if we focus on, like, let's say we had 1 year, we're focusing now only on crypto people, like, primarily, because they already understand this terminology. And you guys that are here right now, you understand like how valuable this is because you are crypto literate, so to speak. You understand that having a permissionless protocol with self-custody is something valuable. But if we sort of need to start with you guys. And then, by the way, if you're a developer making a protocol, like, if you can make something that accelerates adoption, I think that's like a killer app. You have all the tools, you have all the Legos in order to do so. So we are excited about like talking to developers and like showing them like, this is how this toolbox works, this is how this formula works, and use it in order to build stuff that's going to attract the next billion people into blockchain. That is something that we're trying to solve. We're not trying to solve something that's going to be super highly valuable within a year. So we need to think like a lot bigger than we have in crypto. I like generally believe so. This is why I believe in Jack so much, because he has experience from these like super scalable solution. He knows how to build like that insane value in the long term. He's been doing it for decades. And yeah, so like if you want to shoot an arrow, you need to pull it back, and the more you pull it back, basically up to a point, the longer it grows. So we can't just like, we need that economic energy to be released. We need liquidity out in the market in order for these applications to be built, which in turn is going to give utility for XEN. And this is also something like this is also a dynamic which I really like with Zen, in the fact that, you know, if we can basically go full degen on all of these protocols up here, because everything that we're doing here is going to give utility for Zen underlying here. So you don't have to be, if you're like getting stressed by everything that happens here and you don't understand anything, you either feel like that, or you're feeling like super excited because you really like NFTs. Like me personally, I really like the concept of rarity and NFTs, but that's just my personal opinion. I like to be able to store in something that's like super scarce, that provably scarce. Some might appreciate the fact that we're going to make another token where you have to compete for the distribution, and you're getting yield through reflection, etc., and it's only limited to 100 million. So there's a dynamic there where you have to realize that, okay, you create your own value from the protocol, but then people have different horizons, and they have different things they want to use their money for. They have different like ROI demands, and like you want to invest in something with a short horizon or long horizon. You want to invest in something that can bring you this yield. You want to invest in something that can, you want to be a lender, or you want to borrow, you want to unlock. So you want to be able to do all of these things, and we need to make sure that you can do this with Zen. So we are, of course, building this, and as our network grows, other thing in like the metaverse and the financial world is going to realize that, okay, Zen is a very like valuable network to tap into. It sort of looked like a spaceship, right? This is like this is the wings. Zen Star Galactica. It's like a Knight Rider. And so we can basically go full degen, but if you just like, so Zen is like the cash, it's like the peer-to-peer money that's needed. And then you have any other kind of value within the system. So you have rarity, you have diamonds, you have limited supply tokens, etc., etc. But if you're not interested in that, you can just be confident in the fact that everything that's being built here brings utility for Zen. So Zen is the cash, and it needs to be used for something. And we also have to realize, like, the barriers are as low as they can be, since it's free, the token is free, but you still have to pay with gas and time, right? So nothing is really free. And if I pay like $4 for my transaction here, and the longer I wait, of course, the future uncertainty of the upcoming mint is going to be higher the longer I choose. But let's say the upcoming mint has a transaction cost of $40 or some ridiculous thing like that. Like $44 for you and me might not be like anything, but for some people it's like a year's salary, if we think of people who are living on this planet. So if we need to make a system that can opt in the majority of the population for them to participate in this. And so we have low cost chains, which just requires like a few cents for them to participate in this two-step process. So that's great. So they can opt into this and take part of the value creation that we are creating here in this decentralized financial system. So like, just ask yourself, like, how would a decentralized financial system completely based on first principles really look like? Like that's what's at stake here. That's why this is like so huge, because if you have a financial system where everyone has self-custody of their tokens, I mean, I think it would be amazing. We wouldn't see these like rug pulls and and so on and so forth that we see today. So, like again, the talking about the inflation, like after 3 months, the inflation is too high. I strongly argue we need this inflation. We need a super high inflation. So what? The price chart is not looking like super glamorous the first initial period of this time. It's highly secondary to try to reach a low, like a positive. It's usually the same people who are trying to convince you to invest in a token with the sort of underlying theory that it's going to go up forever. But if you look at the statistic, it drops 95% the value, and it does this over and over again. So it's this mentality that you can just invest in something that's going to go up forever. And it's usually the same people who are like coming like 3 months later and, oh wait, maybe I should understand what Zen is about before I start criticizing it. So like, guys, Zen is live, and I don't like, we're not trying to hype anything. We just build stuff. We show you this is how it works. This is what it is. This is what it isn't. And if you want to interact with it, if you want to use it, here you go. So you also have to like realize something. Like the when it comes to the inflation, after the inflation after 8 years is going to be 0.000000001%. Okay, don't quote me on that. I might have missed or added a zero there, but the built-in inflation in the Mint formula is ridiculously low. The only thing that's there is a 2% perpetual staking, only for the people who are staking and fulfilling their Mint term. For the rest, it's not. So with time, this is the most inflationary phase, and by time it's going to go away. And of course, that is not even taken in consideration the yin and yang effect with the burning. So what do you want to do? You want to create a system overnight, or you want to create something that has the potential to scale to billions of people? What you also have to realize is that we're in a bear market right now. Okay, so and we're still growing like insanely, exponentially. So you also have to ask yourself, how come? Because how come we scaled from 0 to 240 million transactions within 3 months, which is quite like astonishing. Like, what does that really tell you? It tells you that we are not dependent on the price chart in order for the onboarding. We are not dependent on the liquidity. We create the liquidity for the market. So it needs to tell you something, that there is a demand out there. The price has gone down constantly since we started, but still the network is growing. So this is in a world like where we are growing exponentially, in a world where it seems like everyone else is just waiting for the bull market to come. Okay, and why is it so? It's because they are dependent on their protocol to be pumped with liquidity, with dollars and cents, whereas Zen is not. We are just building, we're expanding, and we are creating value, and we're growing exponentially despite so, because what we're trying to do is expand population over liquidity, over pumping this token with dollars and cents. So whatever the price chart is going to say, we're just going to continue build, because are we builders or are we makers? sorry, are we builders? Are we makers or are we waiters? Who do you want to be, a maker or a waiter? So yeah, like yeah, guys, we covered a lot of stuff. I'm soon going to take some questions, but I also want to show, like, this is just what we're doing, but a lot of different stuff are happening in the oh yeah, okay, I forgot about that too. I also want to talk about, like, with these different chains and when it comes to censorship resistance, we have to realize that what every L1 basically is trying to solve is this blockchain trilemma. Okay, so the blockchain trilemma says that in order for a layer 1 solution to be successful, it needs to be decentralized, it needs to be secure, and it needs to be scalable. And this might, like, look very easy, but it's actually very hard to do. And there's no L1 that has solved this to satisfaction extent. And at least like not even close. And we know this because there's no overall consensus for which chain to build on. So, you know, you can build a system that is highly decentralized and highly scalable, for instance, but it's not secure. You can fit two out of this tree, basically. So you can build a system that is secure and highly decentralized, but not scalable. And you can build a system that's secure and scalable, but it's not decentralized. So what we have to realize is that it's very difficult to solve this, and we don't know which L1 it's going to be, or if that narrative is really the right one as well. So it really does make sense for us to scale, that we're not choosing one chain to be on, but rather choosing to be everywhere. So that's also something I wanted to point out. But guys, we've just been like doing this live for 3 months, and this is like just like the ecosystem of Zen is growing rapidly. This is something that CryptoCell did, and these guys are absolutely amazing. We can see like Zen spreading everywhere, and people get really creative when they realize that they're interacting with a trustless system that also can scale to millions of users. So yeah. So I want to talk about like some of these participants that are creating a lot of value for the Zen ecosystem, because like when we have all of this, this is just words, but how can we see the system? How can we understand the mechanics of the system? How can we read the pulse? So these guys, this interface is really amazing, guys. You need to look at it. zenturbo.io. So as we talked about, here you can see the total supply. This is pretty cool. They make like something they call network machines. So this is the amount of minters, active minters right now. Here you can see, so this is the total supply that's on the market, like liquid supply plus the total stake. But here you can see the number of Zen that it's about to come in to market. This is also very cool. They made a ratio which they call network beats. So it basically says how many global ranks are increasing per minute. And as you can see here, currently right now it's 0. And why is it so? Because the GUI is super high. So when the GUI goes up, the network beats go lower. So it's quite interesting. Like when the cost of producing goes up, minting reduces. Here we can see like the total gas use. So we burned over 17,000 Ethereum, converted basically that energy from Ethereum to Zen. And here you can see the average cost of Zen. Here you can see the Zen supply over time. And here you can see the distribution of Zen. So you can see the liquidity, how much has been burned, penalties, and also stakes. And this we already talked about. So Zen Turbo is amazing, guys. You also have a claim monitor, which they made, which is absolutely incredible. So you can add an address and you can upload a CSV with all your addresses, and you can choose their Ethereum, Binance, and Polygon right now. But I think they're going to expand to more and more networks. And you can also create an account, so you can have control, so you can come back and follow your different mints. There's a calendar, etc., etc. They also made like a mint monitor, so you can keep track of estimated earnings and gas costs, etc., with time. And they also created this amazing NFT status dashboard. So you have you can see how many NFTs been minted, how many of them are listed, and etc., etc. So check out Zen Turbo, guys, and follow them here on Twitter. CryptoZell Labs. Oh, sorry. There we go. CryptoZell Labs on Twitter. We also have another guy that's like amazing is Joseph. He built this Zen.pub. So basically what I'm showing you now is community-made projects that are building on top of Zen. And these are all sites that I use every day to check stats and to find what the pulse of Zen is. So he made this site, Zen.pub, and this is showing like the ETH price, the average daily price, Zen supply, global rank, active minter. So you have basically all the different statistics that you want. New accounts, ETH burned, etc., etc. He also made this NFT stats, so you can follow the different NFT mints based on the different categories, and some burn charts, etc., etc. So it's very good to keep track of all of this data. He also made a calculator, and we also made a calculator. What's good with this one is that you can just press here and set sliders to the current Zen values, and then you can calculate how much your reward in Zen is going to be. So that's also pretty cool. Some URLs, some tweets from the Zen community, etc., etc. So this is Joseph. Follow him, guys. He posts really good stuff. A lot of cool stats, etc., etc. Also here, TPX, the PulseX. He makes this amazing educational stuff, whatever you call it. It's pretty great. So I advise you to follow them. Also, another very good site is Zenmoon, zenmon.com, zenmon.com. So here you have, for instance, what he made. This is made by Steven. He made a Zen Mint calculator. And this is very cool because you can adjust the numbers you want here and then calculate what the different rewards and what the different data is going to be on all the different chains. He also made this Zen staking calculator, which is pretty cool. So you can just choose your stake term and the amount of Zen, and it calculates your staking rewards. So the staking function within Zen it's actually pretty cool. It's highly useful in the fact that you can stake from 1 up to 1,000 days at any time, and the yield is declining by 1% every 90 days. But when you start staking, you're locking in that percentage. So if I would start staking today, I would lock in 19% for that whole period. And at any time, you can end that stake. You can end that stake early. So you can get your whole principal back. So the only thing you're really risking is like 2 transaction fees. So it's a very good staking function that's built in. Here you have Steven Ludolfus. I recommend you to follow him. Oh, sorry, I need to press. Here's Steven Ludolfus. I don't know how to pronounce it. Steven's amazing. Another cool site made by another community member is ZenSquad.com. So here you can see all the stats for the NFTs. What actually? So yeah, this is actually pretty cool. So you can just like press here on Unicorns basically, and you can get all the stats for that. And here you can see total. We burned 170 billion just for the unicorns, and in total we burned 288 billion with this NFT so far. What I also want to mention with these NFTs, like what I forgot to mention basically is that this is something that's live now. From my perspective, the protocol it worked really well. Like it's deployed, it works. There's no like errors. It works exactly as expected, and this is deployed and it's live. So it's this perpetual burning machine that's just going to continue to work and be deployed. So if the price goes down, the NFTs are going to sell out. There's no real like urgency that we needed to sell them out the first day. And when I say sell out, that's basically the wrong word, because we're not selling them. The user is minting them for themselves straight with the protocol. Anyway, so check this out. Like ZenSquad.com is an amazing site, and it's made by Web3ly. So amazing. Thanks for that site, guys. So, oh yeah, we also have Oxcore that would make this. That's about to make this game site zenbox.xyz. So with zenbox.xyz, you can pay with Zen and play games online. So it's pretty cool. So here I'm playing
Mark.
Duck Hunt.
Ducks over here. Bang.
If you remember this OG game, super amazing. What else, guys? Yeah, so this is the system. This is basically what I wanted to talk about today. And also, yeah, here. If you haven't already, you should join the Telegram group, Zen Crypto Talk, and we created a new group as well, which is Zendap, where you can join and get information. It's a group we created where all the different DApp creators can present all their different creations and stuff like that. So yeah, guys, we covered a lot of different things today, and the reason I wanted to make this whiteboard give me some feedback if you think this was like very confusing or if it was a good way to present. Usually I make my videos, but I wanted to do something live and use this whiteboard to explain. I'm a visual learner myself, so I like to see an overview of things. And the reason I wanted to do this is because I wanted you guys to get an overview of all that we're doing and to see that it actually fits into something. It fits into a spaceship which is moving towards a goal. So no matter how many projects we're talking about, whatever we're making, it increases the utility for XEN and accelerates the adoption. So yeah, guys. So let's do some questions here. Ikuso, how come nobody says how much fee to claim the reward? Please tell. Okay, so it's a good question. Now, the token in itself is free. The reward you're getting at this stage is calculated by this formula, right? So when you claim your C rank here at this stage, let me make this bigger. So when you claim your C rank here at this stage, what you're locking in that transaction is this C rank. So the C rank is the then global rank plus 1. So that's what's like being stored in that transaction. So in your wallet, you sort of have that attached to your wallet. You have that C rank claim. Now, what you're also doing in this step is choosing the min term, right? So the formula rewards you for choosing as long min term as possible. And at this stage, at step number 2, you are adopting this formula. So at this stage, you are punching in all of these numbers. So sorry, at this stage, you're also locking in the current amplification number. So it's a number between 1 and 3,000. Currently, it's 2,917 or something like that. Yeah, 2,910 it should be. And the EAA, so that's like 3%. So at this stage, the only thing we didn't have is the global rank. So that's why we don't know. We can only estimate how big your reward is going to be here because we don't know how many people have interacted with your protocol in between. But at this stage, we do have all of these factors. So we know the global rank, we know the C rank, we know the time that we can multiply with, we know the AMP that you locked in, and we know the EAA. So then we can just apply all of these numbers and put them in. So there are calculators, some of them you have seen, which estimates what the reward is going to be. But what you need to understand is the estimations, since we don't have enough data yet, is going to be very difficult because we don't know the. It's going to be more accurate with time when we have some data to base it on. But initially, we don't really know what the future reward is going to be for you, since it depends on how many protocols have interacted. How many users have interacted with the protocol before you. So I hope that answers your question. I made a video about that as well on XEN Education. Hit number 1. Let's see. What happens after max term days are maxed out and supply is harder to get? Right, like, so you're locking in these numbers in this step. So if we are like after 8 years, the AMP is going to be very, very low. You can still choose a long min term, but the only way that you by then can increase the reward is by increasing the amount of time that, because this is going to be gone, the AMP is going to be gone, this is going to be gone, and the only thing you can do is increase the reward by adoption and the time that you're choosing to extend your reward. What is the incentive you guys are going to do for people who don't want to mint but just want to buy Zen? Well, these are the incentives. The value, like, okay, you're buying something because you think it's going to increase in value, right? What we are creating is a system that will increase in value, but only so if Zen is being adopted. So Zen is only going to get value if it's being adopted, and for that to happen, there needs to be time and there needs to be utility built for Zen to happen. So that's how I would answer that. Allowing whales to control is the first principle, because that's what happens. So that is actually not really true. Like if you look at the distribution now of Zen, we can understand that the network is already highly decentralized. So we know this because we see the traffic to the website is extremely high from many different parts of the world. As well, it's in the formula. If you understand the formula, it works in such a way that if it's sort of a whale resistance built in. If you the more participants, like when you claim your rank, you're also amplifying everyone else's rewards through the formula. So it's sort of a built-in whale resistance in that aspect. That works to some extent. But we can't. So what we can do is create a system which is fair in the sense that it's permissionless and the distribution the token distribution system is highly decentralized. What we can't change is people's realities when they're entering into the protocols. So if you have more money than someone else going in, and if you are spending more money, then of course you're going to get more money as well. But it's like, in order for you to control the whole network of Zen, it's like very, very difficult. When reflection token. So this is the downside of telling you guys all of this, because now it's going to be like months of when. So probably like we have time. Probably the first thing that's going to be made is because that's fairly simple. We also have to deploy Zen Torrent. That's the highest priority, to deploy it on the other chains, and then probably create the proof of stakes NFT so we can unlock the staking value. Then I think it's a reflection token, but I think realistically that's more like Q2. So what happens is we have to continue optimize the game theory for the reflection token. So there's two parts. It's the distribution of the token. Basically what we know is that it's going to have a limited supply. What we are designing right now is the distribution of the token, which is the first part, and then the incentives to keep the token. And that's where the reflection comes in, the reflection of the yield. So the yield can come from many different places. It can come from the process in which you initiate the transaction, and it can also come in the process of transaction fees, etc. and there can be sort of a penalty if you choose not to stake, etc., etc. So we can't say like when it's going to be. When Binance okay, so I guess you're talking about when Binance for the XEN torrent. I'm not sure. I can't say exactly when. I have to ask Jack that. My mom wants to participate, but she doesn't have the mint skills, and she won't be able to learn. So the thing with XEN is that the great thing with it is the fact that you don't have to exchange some form of economic energy for something else in order to participate, since the token is free. But you do still have to pay for transaction fees. So there's three things you need in order to participate. You need a wallet, and you can download this for free. Can't spell right now. So you need a wallet, and you need some gas. So that's basically it. So the wallet you can download for free, and money for gas, if it's your mother, you can send her some in order to participate. And then she just have to go to XEN.network and connect to the protocol and claim a rank. So it's just like a few clicks of a button to participate. Just go here, mint free XEN, and yeah, claim a C rank. So that's basically it. So it's not that like difficult in order to participate. Would it be possible to introduce a UI and functionality that lowers the barrier for participating for this early majority digital kind of what Rabbit have been able to do with the 3 digital collectibles? I don't know what the digital collectibles of Reddit are, but I think like this is already set now. So figuring out, like, basically what needs to be figured out is to, even though the barriers are very low to entry, what needs to be figured out is how to do it much more, like iterate every step 100 million times so people can participate with a few steps. In order for them to do that, it needs to be available for people, and they need to be educated about it. So anything that happens, like the challenge right there is the fact that you have for instance, a lot is mobile today. So you can make apps that are working very well for mobile, but you would also still have to bear in mind how to do that in a way that is safe. So that would be the challenge. But I think like developers who are solving those kinds of things to make it more in the hands of normies, that's like a really good use case, because XEN is scaling horizontally and vertically. So if you make those kinds of solutions, then you can potentially get a lot of users. Let's see here. Dan, I made 108 manual wallets and 128 VMU NFT, and the manual 108 wallets is worth more than the 128 ZenFT VMU. Why? So I made like if you, I'm not really sure like why is it so, like okay, assuming that the VMUs, okay, so the VMUs are different. Assuming it has the same EAA and AMP, it should be worth more. What might be the case is the gas cost, because what you're doing when you're minting this NFT is basically that you're also paying gas for the NFT itself. So initially that NFT is going to be more expensive, but with time that like evens out of the many different VMUs. So also when you claim here at the next step, it's like it's much cheaper with this NFT because of the batch minting. So it reduces like 20% of the gas cost when you mint this NFT here. But I'm not really sure. I would need to see those numbers. When Matic Zen videos are, that's a good question. Zen NFTs is also amazing. Big shout out to Zenheads. He's making a NFT project which are directing part of the fees to burn Zen on Matic. So maybe we should do a separate video about that. That would be very good. Have you been testing Zen on the Pulse Chain network? Yes, I have. We included Zen on the Pulse Chain network early on. So whenever Pulse Chain launches, we can deploy Zen there as well. If we are, yeah. So it works very well. The BPM is not showing the true picture anymore because of the NFTs. Am I right? Let's have a look. I have to go to the dashboard, of course. So, oh wow, here you can see like right now the GUI is super high. So if the GUI is high like that, then nobody is going to mint. So the global rank per minute is 0 right now for good reason. So actually, we can also check this within Zen Turbo in the mint monitor. They have a gas guzzler here. So something's going on right now. Maybe it's Seaport. Maybe it's something going on with the Uniswap. Here we can see Zen Torrent. So we in the last 7 days, 600, something like that. Here's Coin Tools as well. And here's Zen. So yeah. Yeah, guys, do you have any more questions? All right. Thank you very much for tuning in to this today's whiteboard session. It was it's kind of nice. Give me some feedback afterwards. What you thought about this way of learning? If it was a good module, if you should make videos instead, or if you prefer this way. All right, guys. Over and out. 10-2. This is XEN TZU. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.